It's going to be red. Apparently it's just going to be red. Hi. My face is flush as F. How's you? Hi. Hi. My face is like little fleshy flush. Hi guys. Welcome in. Tina. Hi, my love. How are you? Look at that. My face is a little flush, guys. Eating some dinner. Happy birthday! Everybody tell Tina happy birthday. Happy birthday. Ignore my red face. Happy birthday. What is happening? It's wild. I don't know. We're just going to call it one of my many fun things. You're welcome. So tonight we're going to talk about being an empath. Are you ready? Being an empath. Anybody in here an empath? I'll tell you kind of some got to go by. I'm going to tell you some of my theories on this, and then I want to, do you love being told what to do? It depends where and who's speaking. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit. All right. So the book I'm reading from, I am going to read some from, but I'm teaching from is the Empath Experience. Okay. This is it. You guys know I don't actually like to read, but for whatever reason, I do read about this stuff. So a couple different things. This is just my opinion. I am not all knowing by any means, but some people are like, are you born an empath? Are you just naturally an empath? Are you made into an empath? Right? Have you guys heard these different stories? What are your thoughts? Are you born an empath? Are you made an empath? I'm going to light a candle and clear some energy. You guys tell me. Are empaths just born an empath? Are we... How does one become an empath? Does everybody have the ability to be an empath? These are all questions that really, I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer. Hi, you was born one? So there's so many different beliefs on it, right? And a large majority of the spiritual community would consider themselves an empath. So I'm going to tell you kind of some of the experiences and then kind of tell you at least my personal journey and kind of where I'm kind of guided to it. Ignore my red face, dude. Autoimmune 101. Made an empath from childhood. Okay. So that's what I'm going to actually talk about. So, hey. So my theory is an empath is one who tends to absorb other emotions and feel other emotions. They tend to absorb it as if they're their own. They feel it as if it's their own. They also are hyper vigilant on knowing the energy of wherever they're around. Okay. And hi, Tim. I'm good. How are you? So my thoughts are there's a couple different things. I mean, yes, you can be born one. I always thought that. But then when you start thinking about the qualities of an empath, it's they read energy. And they're very good at reading energy. The question is, why are they really good at reading energy? Has anyone in here that has said they are an empath, has anyone not had any trauma in their life been perfect? And I actually don't know the answer to this. This is just something that I always throw around in my head. I could be wrong, right? I'm open to being wrong and learning. I'm forever a student. However, in my experience, a lot of the people that I've met that are empaths that read energy, they've been brought up in situations to where it's very important that you know everyone's energy, right? You can scan a room, right, when you walk in and tell who is safe for you to be around and who is not safe for you to be around. You can tell when your friends, when the people around you, when something's off, and even if they say no, you know something's not quite right. Is this because you're born this way? Is this because you're conditioned this way as a child or a young adult? It is really up for debate. So many people would say all different ways. And then there's some people that would say, I don't want to say that I'm an empath. Like, I always thought it was a gift. I'm not saying it's not a gift. I'm just throwing it out there for discussion. I'm an empath. I can read energy and I can tell when something's off. Now, if I can't tell what exactly is off, I tend to internalize it because I forget, because I'm human, that like, oops, not mine. And it makes it very difficult to separate from, because I can tell when something's not quite right. Okay. And so I think that as empaths, or as people who read energy, or people who are more sensitive, people are more sensitive, like you can tend to read energy through a text, through an email, through a phone call, through just not even speaking to someone. You just know something's off. And that's because we are accustomed to reading the energy around us, and our subconscious is like, is everything safe? Nope. What's wrong here? What's wrong here? What's wrong here? And I think that a lot of it's conditioned. Now, I don't think that everyone is an empath. I'll give you the example of my husband, not an empath by any stretch of the imagination. He wouldn't know how to be an empath if it hit him right in the head, like truly. And I'm not even digging at him. Like, it's just not something, but he didn't grow up with any kind of trauma either. Like, his trauma is actually not having any trauma. So he has no idea how to deal with anyone who has trauma. So even not having trauma still gives you trauma, because you're like, I don't know what to do. So he's oblivious to a lot of things. And a great example for me would be, and I've used this before, is that we were at Rocklahoma and there was a man in a wheelchair in front of us. And I was with 5 people, and there's billions of people around. And this man is struggling in a wheelchair trying to get over a tube, like a water hose or something. And everybody just stood there and looked at him. Nobody wanted to help. Like, I could feel his frustration. Like, I'm like, should I help? Should I not? Like, is he going to get mad? You know, whatever. But I leaned in and I said, here, let me help you. And he got mad, right? Because I was helping. But I think it's because, you know, maybe he was embarrassed, or maybe he didn't want to be a burden, or maybe he just wanted to live life like a regular person, like all of us do. And everybody was like, why'd you do that? And my thing is like, why did you guys not? Like, right? Does that make sense? Like, why did you not? How are you a person that doesn't feel that? I don't know how that is. Whereas he doesn't know how it is to feel those things. He is totally oblivious to some things. And I'm like, are you serious? And it's like, it's not. Like, for the longest time, I always would get mad. Like, how come you're being that way? Like, you don't get it? And no. Some people don't, right? And we can be mad at them all day long, but it's not in some people, you know, to be an empath. And then that's up for debate on, is that something that we are made into, you know, by circumstances? Is it how we were raised? Is it the people that we were around? Nature versus nurture, right? It's very much a gift, but it can be very much a curse, as any of you guys know. And so I thought it would be a really great topic for us to kind of go through. Okay. And if you do want this book for yourself, I always give you guys book recommendations. It's called The Empath Experience: What to Do When You Feel Everything. It's a really great book. It says, learn to lead an empowered life. The Empath Experience: What to Do When You Feel Everything. And it's definitely up in the air on, is it nature versus nurture? Which is it? Is it a little of both? Is it a lot of both? Right? There's a lot there. So I'm just going to read through some of the stuff, and then we'll chit chat, because I think we're going to go through what is an empath, being an empath versus being empathetic, which are 2 different things. Are you a highly sensitive person? What types of empaths are there? So there's a lot of different information here, but we can definitely go through and go through it. I think you guys will find it very interesting. There is coping mechanisms in here that we're going to go through as well. And if you guys like it, we can continue on. I'm not trying to make every day a book club, but I do really love this topic. The name is, thank you, Joshua. Hang on a second. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you. It's called the Empath Experience. Okay, what is an empath? Somebody tell me short version. What's an empath in your book? I mean, I know we talked about it, but what to you is an empath? Is it someone that just feels everything? Is it someone who is a healer? What is that to you? You guys put up your thoughts on it while I read this part. An empath is someone born with the innate ability to feel and understand what other people, as well as other living things, such as animals and even in some cases plants, are feeling and experiencing. The key to deciding whether or not you're an empath is to ask yourself if you truly feel the energetic, emotional, and physical experiences of other living beings or the planet as though they were your own. A person that feels everything. Yeah. Can you feel them as if they were your own? When something happens to someone you care about, do you cry with them because you feel it? Being an empath is often associated with clairsentient, which signifies the intuitive ability to intentionally harness empathetic tendencies as the gifts as they truly are. Being an empath comes with special superpowers, especially once the gift bearer becomes consciously aware of his or her unique capacity to feel and process energetic information at such a heightened degree. Yeah. Feel physical and emotional pain. Yeah. Why, thank you. I'm a little shagadelic today, farty-vor. So here is the difference between being an empath versus being empathetic. Did you guys know there was a difference? The empath experience is not to be confused with feelings of compassion or empathy. Every living being has some extent of being empathetic, but certain beings experience the condition way more strongly than others, and it may identify them as empaths outright. If you feel compassion or empathy towards others, you may feel sadness, hopefulness, perhaps a desire to help them feel better. If you're an empath, you will experience pain, suffering, emotions, and physical sensations or other emotional and spiritual and physical information emanating from other beings as if it were your own. You may also feel hopelessness or a desire to help other beings as well. Let's say a friend tells you his longtime dog passed away. A person experiencing empathy would say, I'm sorry for that, and have compassion for the effect of this loss that it had on the friend and everyone that was around it. Perhaps offer in some way before moving on with his day-to-day life, like a gesture, or say, hey, I'm sorry. An empath wouldn't only feel the empathy and compassion for the loss, but would feel the depth of sadness, loss, and possible depression and grief, as though this loss has happened to them personally. If the friend describing the loss of the family pet is heaviness in any particular part of the body, perhaps pain in the stomach and headache from not sleeping well, the empath is likely to feel those same pains. Me and Rebel need to break up. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Shelly, right? This is for you. For you. If the friend describing the loss of a family pet, heaviness in any particular part of the body, you feel it there, right? Rebel, I love you. Me and Rebel she's been having stomach problems way longer than me, but you know. That's what I'm going with. I'm just being an empath. I'm being an empath. Instead of feeling compassion and letting go, an empath would continue to be affected emotionally and physically for days or possibly even longer, depending on how intensely the experience has been imprinted. Shelly, you guys hear me? Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Those of you that have reached out and said, like, am I crazy? Am I crazy because I'm so upset about this? Why am I still so upset about this? Well, you're upset because you're an empath, right? You understand. You don't like the fact that you know how other people feel, right? You take that on. We take on the world, right? Pick you. As empaths, sometimes you can even feel like you're reading other people's mind, like you can thoroughly understand what another person means in the deepest sense of whatever he or she is trying to convey. And all of this happens subconsciously without trying. It's an automatic program always running in the background on high alert. It's like your computer, and this is something going in. We love you. Thanks for stopping in. Happy birthday. It's running constantly in the background, right? It's subconsciously. There's a quick tool to ease the weight carried from others. And Miss Elaine is going to teach us some of these things very soon. Everybody say, teach us, teach us, teach us. You're welcome. We love you. I hope you have a beautiful evening. So here is what a HSP, a highly sensitive person, and you could be all these, none of these, you could be a variety. I just wanted to go over it with you guys. Yeah, teach us, Mom. She's going to be at the retreat, guys. If you need to go, you know who to talk to. Highly sensitive person. Another interesting consideration when it comes to empaths and other intuitive distinctions is the difference between empaths and highly sensitive person. Elaine Aron, a PhD from the Foundation, a study of highly sensitive persons, estimates 15 to 20% of the world's population is HSP. No one knows exactly how many are also empaths, but it doesn't really matter. What's important is you know that you are not alone. Okay, you're not alone. The thing that sets HSP apart from their extremely sensitive nervous systems. They tend to be affected more by temperature, sounds, and visual stimulation rather than other empaths, okay? An empath can be sensitive to the energy. If you're an empath and a highly sensitive person, you're going to be even more attuned to temperature changes, right? A lot of us, or a lot of you, that do paranormal, right? You are so in tune with temperature changes, with energy changes, with energy shifts, okay? This very much falls in those categories. Reading rainbow, right? When I do reading rainbow, when I see someone coming through, it's an energy shift. So there are different types of empaths. There are many types of intuitive beings as there are people on the planet. There is a huge amount, right? Every individual operates from their own unique perspective. But here is a little exercise for you first. How do you know if you're an empath? I'm going to, and then we're going to go through the different kinds. Do you guys like this? Does this help you guys that are struggling right now? Yes. Heck yeah. Good, good, good. Perfect, perfect. Hi, Janie. How are you? Today was Kid Rock. One of my favorite songs, and it's a ridiculous song, but it is from Hell Yeah. And Cowboy Hillbilly, whatever you say. I don't know what it's called. It's called Cowboy Hillbilly, whatever you say. Love him and leave him. Cowboy Way. That's what it's called. Cowboy Way. It's a very fast screaming song. I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for asking. All right. How do you know if you're an empath? Okay. You could raise your hand, but do you know for sure? I'm going to give you some questions to consider. Do you feel other people's fame? Do you feel other people's fame? Do you feel other people's pain? Physical, emotional, spiritual, you name it. When others are feeling down, do you automatically sense the feeling and even subconsciously take that on as your own? You just can't help it. You've always wanted to help other people and take care of them. It's part of the natural fabric of your being. It's who you are, right? We need to have Miss Elaine teach us how to let go of those, right? At Goddess Training Camp, is that what we're going to call it? It just came to mind. Goddess Training 101. We need that at the retreat, right? Can you read the energy or vibe of a room sometimes before even entering the space? You might also get overwhelmed easily when you're in crowded situations just for a few moments, right? I can't go to Walmart. Don't make me go to Walmart unless I'm with my own group of people, because then I feel like I'm in my own bubble and I'm safe. Like, don't send me to Walmart, right? Don't do it. Don't do it. I feel that. I do. You have a powerful emotional response, even to the degree of making you feel enormously uncomfortable, to TVs, movies, or performances. You may have even felt the desire to stop watching or engaging in whatever it was because the experience was too painful, almost as though it was happening to you. You did, Julie, you did. You did. And you're a badass bitch for it. Right? So, do you have a powerful response? One of my favorite moments is, and I don't do this anymore because I don't really like the whole idea of SeaWorld, but when I was younger and I didn't really know any better, I went to SeaWorld and I sat there and I listened to the music and I watched the whales and things like that go by, and it was so overwhelming. Like, just like being close to that kind of a creature, like so overwhelming. That you hear songs and you cry and you guys know what I'm saying. Like, you can watch movies, you can watch these things, and it just becomes so overwhelming that it takes everything in you. And then you're like, what am I crying? Right? You have taken on other people's illnesses or physical maladies. These could include cold, allergies, cough, physical pain, inflammation. Have you ever suddenly started feeling congested because someone around you is sick or has allergies? No. Never. Have you guys done that before? When your friend doesn't feel good, do you take on different things? Right? Hey, Joe. You experience intense exhaustion, especially after spending time with an individual or a group that feels immensely draining on your energy. It can feel at times that you attract certain people because you make them feel better just by your presence. This interaction often leaves you drained, like you've given so much of yourself without receiving anything in return. Mike Ferdaddy. Yeah, no, it's not a good feeling, is it? Thanks for the follows, guys. Appreciate you. Here's another one. This is, how do you know if you're an empath? You feel the collective pain and disease occurring throughout the entire planet. You resonate with the experience of carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders. You're highly attuned to the emotional consequences of violence, oppression, separation on the global level. You feel responsible for saving the world as a result because you can see how it might be able to be fixed, right? I feel that so much. What do I always say we're here to do? We're here to save the world, person to person. Thank you. Big hugs to you. Thanks for coming in. Right? Hand in hand, right? We talked about this a lot, through the stuff I've been going through. It's like, okay, so one cloud is a cloud in the sky. But holy hell, have you seen a front come through? Have you seen a wall cloud come through? They're powerful. There is power in numbers, right? There is power in numbers. 1 turns to 2, 2 turns to 4, right? You change people without knowing that you change people. And it's a really beautiful thing. And sometimes you're a villain in stories too, right? It's the reality. Change the planet. That's what we want to do. We want to raise the vibration. Like, come on. I'm okay with dark, right? I'm okay with some of that, but when it comes to raising the vibration, like, the world can be so much of a better place if people will help raise that vibration. Here's one too. Knew something different. Did you? That's interesting. Do you know when people are lying? Do you? I like to play this game of oh, really? I'm so sorry that happened. And they're literally looking at you in the eyes, telling you complete BS. I'm like, oh, I'm going to let it play out, right? I feel that, right? You can't explain, but you've always known. You can sense the energetic dissonance of others when they are embodying any type of dishonesty or lack of integrity. Except with me, usually, well, at least in the past, it's like, oh, I just stepped in this pile of crap and I know it's a bad one. And I'm going to have to figure out how to get this off my shoe, right? Because you tend to put your best foot forward and you want to trust. Don't always do that, right? Protect your energy. You can't explain it, but you've always known. You can sense energetic dissonance of others when they're embodying any type of dishonesty and lack of integrity. As such, you've had challenges with trusting people to the degree that you desire. You're acutely aware of how often people are dishonest, especially with themselves. You can see it and feel it to the core. The challenge for you is this, and I feel this with everything, right? Everything that I have. The challenge for you is to be able to not take it personally and consider that you may see something that the other person is not aware of yet. Isn't that impactful? The challenge for you is not to take it personally. Does everybody feel that would consider themselves like a light worker, a empath? Do you feel that? Like, it's so easy because we take it on, right? Because we take it on. But just because we feel it doesn't mean it's ours to hold. And that's a really hard thing, right? And we're going to get Miss Elaine on here in the next week or two, whenever she's ready, to talk to us about that. Because I'd like to continue talking through Work It Wednesday stuff, right? When they're part of the spiritual side. It is. The ones that bite you the worst are the ones that that you trust, that you open up to, that you let your guards down to. Are you sensitive to noise and light? Loud sirens, city noises, traffic, bright lights, and anything that carries a feeling of chaos, intensity, or possible confrontation puts you on high alert and extraordinarily startling. You may feel an aversion to city living, especially if you find yourself surrounded by huge buildings and concrete where you don't have any access to like grounding, right? Do you get anxious? That could also be why, and in crowds like in Walmart and places like that, that could also be why you get so anxious, right? Because outside's outside, right? It's outside. It's outside. You find yourself feeling incredibly healed and restored by what? Just give me a guess. What do you think yourself as an empath feels incredibly healed and restored by? Nature. Who in here loves nature? I don't know why, but I let them lie. Oh, hands down, Mike. Absolutely. I have some people that I'll just let them, and I know it's complete, but, and then I also, because I am who I am, I'm like, well, they must need something. Like, why else would someone make up such crap, right? Nature. For you, nature is medicine. You crave space, peace, and quiet, natural scents, ease the provided expansion greenery for beaches, mountains, grass. Being in nature nourishes you like nothing else. Your senses are particularly activated in the natural environment, where you may have even had experience of accessing stronger intuition and psychic foresight. Here is another part. You may have learned at a young age not to say what you're really feeling to avoid making other people feel uncomfortable. Who does that? I don't want to do that because I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to say that. How would it make them feel? There is definitely I'm not a fan of saying things that I know are going to destroy, hurt someone, right? I am a fan of being direct and honest if it's needed. I don't like hurting people, right? Because I know what it's like to be hurt, right? That only makes sense to me. Some people don't get it, and that's okay all the time. I'm trying to move out of the city. Yes, I always joke and say basically we want a compound to do retreats on. I want a bus so I can travel, but then like a compound. That's fine. A compound. As a child, you learned to hold back on telling the truth because others, especially adults, weren't able to receive the full degree of your honesty. You may have spoken something so true that others around you felt uncomfortable at having the light shined on an issue or question that they were not prepared to face. Even if their discomfort wasn't voiced, you sensed the uncomfortable response in them might have made you subconsciously learn that it's not safe for you to speak your truth. It's not safe. I try not to hurt feelings. I'm dyslexic. Sometimes I don't know when. Yeah, no, I feel that. It's on point, right? It's good. Empaths exist across the full spectrum of sensitivities and preclusions. There's definitely isn't one template to describe this truly unique experience that is felt across the mental, emotional, and spiritual energetic realms. If you identify with most or all of these circumstances, it's highly likely that your empathetic gifts are yearning to be identified and activated. You may sense that you're ready to learn how to harness your abilities and become empowered, energized, and expressed. You're ready to get to know yourself and your gifts more deeply so you can live an incredible life marked by connection, confidence, and truth. Trust that this world is so ready for you. However, we can narrow it down to the 5 most prevalent types of empaths. And you guys think about it. Are you all? Are you one? If you are an empath, right? They are emotional, physical, animal, global, and earth. These are just a few distinctions to reflect on when it comes to the various ways your gifts can be expressed. Keep in mind your expression may straddle a few of these and perhaps multiple at once. There are many different types of intuition interpretations. Intuition as there as human beings on this planet, no two souls are the same, right? You may have one, you may have all, you may have other stuff too. This is just 5. Okay. And I just want to see which one of these connect. As I say them, say which one connects to you to the most so we can all see kind of, it'll just be interesting because a lot of us are very close in here. And if you're not very close, then jump in our group over on the Facebook and get close, right? Because we have a lot of stuff. So let's see. Emotional empath. You pick up emotions of others. For example, being at a big party filled with excitement, stress, and other intense energy will feel overwhelming due to all the energy being transmitted. You may find that when you're around someone who is upset or angry, you feel upset or angry, and you may not understand why you feel that way. The emotional empath can be very confusing until you're aware of your tendency to absorb other people's emotions, and you can protect your energy and draw strong boundaries accordingly. Thanks, Julie. Who's an emotional empath? Who feels that? Emotional empath. Next is physical empath, right? A lot of us on that one. Physical empath. You can feel other people's pain, physical sensations, and symptoms. If you're near someone who has a headache, for example, you may start to feel you have a headache. If you're in a crowd of people, which many have being signs of physical ailments, you may start feeling particularly overwhelmed and chaotic. You might find it difficult to recognize if you have a physical ailment or if you are simply mirroring someone else's. If you leave the environment in which you were feeling other people's symptoms, your symptoms may dissipate. Ew. All right, exactly. So who is physical empath? Here I say I'm not. Who knows, really? Every day is a different day. I love this one. And I think a lot of us will connect with this. An animal empath. Are you an animal empath? You experience emotions of nearby animals. You may have a stronger connection to a specific kind of animal, such as dogs or cats. Being in situations where animals are held in captivity, such as a zoo or circus, is difficult for you, as the animals may exude a stressful energy that will impact your stress levels. Yes, Jen. Yes. Yeah. Do you feel that on animals? The eyes are always the give thing for me. The eyes. I have to shut my eyes or else I'm like, oh, I see you in there. Right? Global empath. I think this one's interesting. You pick up on the emotions of humans on the planet as a whole. You can absorb the stress of a global catastrophe and traumas happening on mass level, such as natural disasters, mass violence, and war. Everyone can tune into this trauma to some degree, but global empaths are particularly stressed by these occurrences, even without knowing them via the media or the news. That's a hard one. That's a hard one for me. If you guys, I'm not going to go into like any political, but there is, several wars going on, and there are some videos that are absolutely atrocious of little children and things like that. And I get, that it's war, but oh my gosh, I don't understand. These are babies, right? These are babies. Yeah, I don't try to. Sometimes they come across and then I'm like, I feel like, yeah, I don't watch the news either. I don't watch the news unless it happens to be on or there's tornadoes or something, because it is so hard. And I get that those things happen, and I get that you need to learn about some of those things because you need to know what's going on. But right? It gets hard. Are you an earth empath? You pick up sensations and feelings derived from the earth's energy. For example, before a natural disaster is about to strike, you may feel symptoms of stress, nervousness, nausea, back pain, dizziness. It'll eventually pass after the event is over. People who are not earth empaths will likely experience anxiety and stress after a natural disaster occurs, while as earth empaths feel the stress beforehand, signaling there is an event coming. It is. Yes, it is a lot. It is. All right. So you guys figure out which ones you connect to. All right. Are you ready to hear your coping mechanisms? Are you ready to see if this is on point too? I need to charge this probably. Yikes, I'm out. Let me see. Hi, pretty little poison. How are you? All right, so we are going to talk about ways that empaths cope. And again, if you want to know what I'm teaching from and reading tonight, the book is called The Empath Experience, What to Do When You Feel Everything. I want to kind of build back our work at Wednesdays. We're going to do interviews and stuff like that too, but I really want it to continue to be around us healing and helping each other. So if you want to be on a live with me and talk about healing and your growing and experience, then let's do that. All right, ways empaths cope before they understand their gifts. Hi, Jimmy. How are you? Thank you. Sobe, thank you. Empath coping mechanism number 1. Be who and how others want you to be. Not calling anyone out, I'm calling all of us out, right? If you're an empath, I guarantee these are some of our coping mechanisms. When you're an empath, you know what other people like, and more importantly, what they don't like. You can tell what puts them in a bad mood, so you learn from an early age at some point along your path not to disrupt too much. You wouldn't want to cause anyone to be upset, especially if you knew what would set them off. Empaths are gifted chameleons with the power to transform and shape-shift in an instant to better accommodate whatever situation they find themselves in. Call it a survival mechanism or a superpower, but empaths can read the energy of a group or another person they find themselves in contact with and mold to whatever circumstances are present. For example, if you sense something's not right, it's off the bat is a calmer, quieter version who doesn't resonate with the intense conversation or powerful language, you will dull down your inclination to communicate aggressively if your personality is more assertive. Yeah, it is, right? You're a woman of many talents. Yeah, it is for sure. That's and we talked about that a little bit earlier. Like, is it nature versus nurture? It's a lot of survival tactics. I mean, I'm not saying some people aren't born that way, but most of us, this is our subconscious protecting us. Or if you find yourself in a group full of assertive alpha type personalities, you might intentionally mirror more of the high energy you sense around you to take on more of a leadership role amid the group. Shape shifting can happen with your appearance. If you find yourself amid a group of over a prolonged period of time, you might start to absorb or emulate the fashion or cohorts. You might even get complimented for showing off a more desirable style than everyone else because you can read into their preferences. Since you practically absorb other people's energy and to some extent their emotion, thoughts, and beliefs, you've likely learned from early on that it's easier to fit in and accommodate whatever your surroundings dictate than stand out and risk being misunderstood or seen or made fun of, or even worse, an outcast. It's possible that you mastered the art of being a social chameleon, particularly in school situations, in which you likely proved a complete expert into fitting into many social circles. You may not have had one social circle. You may have gotten along with almost everyone. In fact, it's possible you felt at times you didn't have much of an identity on your own because you were caught up in molding yourself to whomever you found yourself hanging out with, and you didn't do it on purpose. And this approach probably worked for a while, especially as kids. It did, it did for me. That's what's in the book. Anyway, I remember specifically in middle school feeling proud. I was friends with seemingly everyone, and I went to a huge school function with hundreds of groups to navigate across a huge spectrum of cultures. At the time, I would joke about having an identity crisis because I could notice how much my fashion language and style of movement would change depending on who I hung out with the most. But at that time, I knew how to fit in and create my own type of community. At a deeper level, I wasn't aware of it at this time. I was creating a semblance of safety and connection, which is all I ever wanted. Could it be that we're all in a group together and we all are very different but very the same? But our group, our community, creates protection for us as well, right? What I didn't learn till much later is that being a chameleon and managing others' experiences of me from such a young age, I wasn't actually letting anyone get to know the real me. I wasn't allowing myself to be seen in the way I deeply desired, and therefore I wasn't actually open to intimacy, connection, the ways I saw it. I was essentially keeping the very thing I wanted very far out of reach. So my question to you is on that, and I can say this, right, because I've done it before. I was always the person who stood in the corner, or I would stay at the side of the stage, right, or not be seen. But really, I look very different when you meet me in person, right? I'm tall, I'm pretty curvy, I got tattoos. Like, I'm not going to not stand out. So how do I form this person that stands out, but then also hide at the same time, right? It's me fighting to get out and be who I am. And I think all of us do that. I think all of us are trying to find us, right? And we're trying to live this authentic life. But it's dangerous to live authentically, right? Because what if someone knows that you struggle with something? What if someone doesn't like you or like your hair, or what if they don't like your weight? Like, what if, right? And we're so accustomed to trying to make sure the energy is all on point that we're constantly morphing into everybody else but our true self, right? And there is freedom with loving your true self and finding your true self. I was a shy kid when I met my wife, the life of the party one day, started hating it. Yeah, that's hard. It is. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, it is, it's that you want to be, she's gone. Yeah. Hey, Chica. I think that it's hard. I think that it's hard because you don't want to be seen. You do want to be seen. You want to be loved, but you don't want to be hurt, right? A lot of times, we don't receive the love and receive the things that other people are trying to show us and say to us because we're constantly trying to be something that we're really not. Therefore, people don't even really fall, anybody that's fallen in love with you before you, the healed version, did they know and actually fall in love with you? Like, did your friends actually know you? Like, that's such a huge thing to think about. You know, like, if you don't let people in, then why are you mad because you don't meet people? You know, it's this really big, it's really interesting to think, you know, and yes, some of us, like as empaths, like I know some of you guys and we know each other, and you know that like I'm nice till I'm not, right? Just like, don't push me. Like, I'm great. Just don't push me. And like, we know some of our little quirks and things like that. And, you know we have anxiety. We know we have all these things, and we're starting to understand like, this is who we are. And as we move into trying to teach, especially others, that how do you find your authentic self? How do you love your authentic self? Do you even know what you like, right? You have to backtrack a lot. My husband knows me and no one knows the real us, right? Yeah. Unless we're healed. Yeah. And I think that that's the battle that we're in. And that's part of where Kitty Lynn, like myself, and the group we have over on Facebook, Blend Your Spirit, that's our passion, right? We want people to heal. We want you to find who your authentic self is, because we spent so much time in our lives trying to cater to being people that aren't even us, right? And if there's not some people that don't like you, then you're not being your authentic self. Right? You're just not. You're going to get on somebody's nerves. Like, not everybody's going to like you, right? You guys know I had someone gripe because they said I try to fake my voice like Miley Cyrus, and I have that growl there on my at the end, and they just don't like it. It's not attractive and it's not a turn on. And I'm like, all right. So I guess when people say they don't like you, at least you know that you're doing something right. I mean, you want to have some people that like you and love you, but if you have people that you irritate, like that, you're doing something right. Right? Because you're not going to be for everybody. There's in many different people in this planet, right? Okay. So, are you ready for number 3? Wait, number 2. Sorry, number 2. Number 2. Empath coping mechanism number 2. Don't share how much you really feel. Don't be too much. Don't be too much. Don't be too much. Don't take up space. Don't act that way, right? I changed the way that I, when I parented my oldest child, he was a turd. I mean, he's not, I mean, he is now, but he's an amazing human now, but he's 27. And I remember him throwing fits, and I'm like, shh, don't do that. Like, shh, stop, right? And it's like, now I change it. Like my granddaughter and grandson, when they're throwing a fit, I'm like, oh, regulate those emotions. You know, it's a little, it hits differently. Don't share how you really feel. Don't be too much. That is totally taught to us. I taught it to my oldest as a young mother, right? Empaths are highly in tune with harmony, balance, and peace, and such have a special gift of identifying when things are out of balance, whether that be in relationships, in group settings, in an entire environment, or within large social structures. Being wired with this fine-tuned awareness, fundamentally designed to help facilitate balance and harmony, is an absolute gift, but it comes challenging to express when others aren't ready to receive the truth. For example, an empath may enter someone's home and immediately sense how a relationship dynamic presence within the home could be improved upon, almost as though the empath understands all sides of the situation and can see where one party could better support the other, therefore bringing in the entire relationship into an optimal balance. But just because the empath understands all sides of the situation as well, it doesn't mean that all parties involved are ready to hear that. Do you want me to say it again, or are you just saying like preach? So you could walk in and you could feel like, oh, you know, it needs to be done. That person needs to do that. This needs that. But it doesn't mean that people are going to be open to what you're saying, right? Because they're going to think you're a know-it-all, right? They're going to think that you know it all. Who are you to come into my house and say how this is supposed to be, right? It becomes the beginning part, it was like one sentence. I'll just read it. This is, don't share how you really feel. Empaths are highly tuned into harmony, balance, and peace, and such have a special gift of identifying when things are out of balance, whether that be in relationships, group settings, entire environments, or even within larger societal structures. Being wired with this fine-tuned awareness, fundamentally designed to help facilitate balance and harmony, is a gift, but it becomes challenging to express when others aren't ready to receive the truth. For example, an empath may enter someone's home and immediately sense how a relationship dynamic present within the home could be improved upon. So again, like, just because you feel it doesn't mean that everyone's going to be ready, right? And I used to say it to my, like, shh, don't do that. But then when people say, shh, don't do that, you're literally teaching them, like, don't express your emotions, like, push it down. And you don't want to teach them that, but it's very hard when they're acting, when they're acting out. All right. So number 3, empath coping mechanism number 3. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, Pretty Little Poison. Absolutely. All right. Turn down, or better yet, turn off and tune out your sensitivity. I think a lot of us want to do that. And I think sometimes, like, I had a friend one time and she was like, I don't want you to meet this person, because when you do, you'll be able to tell me all the things that you can see that I can't see. Like, I just don't want you to do it. And I was like, well, I can't, it's hard to turn it off. I mean, am I supposed to turn it off and not tell you you're going to get hurt? Like, is that what's supposed to happen? Right? People with dyslexia see the big picture. Being an empath, you feel it. Now you know why you're odd. You're normal in our community. Yeah, whoever asked, the group is Blend Your Spirit over on Facebook. Just type in Blend Your Spirit and someone can click you in. We do crystals, dream interpretation, all kinds of things like that. All right, turn down, or better yet, turn off and tune out your sensitivity. Has anybody ever felt like they need to tone it down? Don't bring that mess in here. Like, nope, can you just be normal? Do you feel that? So turning down your sensitivity might be something you're already aware of having done for quite some time. It might be an unconscious program so ingrained in you that for quite a while it seemed like you were all together and somewhat emotionally unaware, unavailable. Let me read that again real quick for those of you that need it. Turning down your sensitivity might be something you're already aware of having done for some time. It might be an unconscious program so ingrained in you that for quite a while it seemed like you're all together, somewhat emotionally unaware or unavailable, until you started to wake up. An awakening to an empathetic sensitivity can be catalyzed by an intense spiritual, emotional challenges, intensive transformation, or ecstatic experiences that enliven you to how much love you truly are designed to feel. That is one of the beautiful things about being an empath, is you find immense joy in such simple things, right? It doesn't have to be big, right? You could chase a butterfly and you could be happy for the whole day, right? An awakening to an empathetic sensitivity can be catalyzed by intense spiritual or emotional challenges, intensive transformation, or even ecstatic experiences that enliven you to how much love you truly are designed to feel. Just like there is many types of intuition out there as there are human beings on the planet, there are infinite ways one can awaken to his or her own inherent empathetic sensitivity. And just as there are infinite ways of expressing it, and intuition, there are equally infinite ways to tune out and turn off your abilities altogether. Who in here has the 2 personalities? I love you and I care for you and everything is great, or you don't exist? Why do we do the you don't exist? Why do we do that? Does everybody in here feel that? Like, you have the either it's either on or off. It's the switch, right? Right? You don't exist. You don't exist because it becomes overwhelming when you have to feel the emotion of something that really you aren't connected to anymore, right? If it's not meant for you, it just can't exist, because I do not want to involve my emotions, my empathy. Like, you're going to come to me and it's going to be something and I'm going to be a sucker and I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, you need me, right? And so it does. It's usually, like, it doesn't say that in the book, but usually you have those, like, I love you, I feel you, how can I help you? You don't exist, right? It's those two things. All right, number four. This one is, you guys are going to get. All of us get this one. And I'm not going to say any of you guys get it more so than others. This one is very, very hard. Empath coping mechanism number 4. Play it safe. If you get too close, you're going to get disappointed. If you get too close, you're going to get disappointed. Ouch, right? Ouch. What do they say? Oof. Oof. Playing it safe in a relationship is all about protecting yourself from getting hurt. Whether that be creating walls to stem off intimacy by not letting yourself fall all the way in love, or be with someone by choosing partners and friends with whom you can have a codependent or purposely unequal relationship, and possibly even by managing it completely different identity altogether. This is what it meant for me, at least. Over many years of one long-term relationship to the next, the same behavior exhibited in my friendships as well. From an early age, I realized that I could protect myself from being hurt or abandoned by ensuring I maintained the power in the relationship to a degree. If I knew that the other person needed me, relied on me, and expected me in their life, I was safe. You like to be needed. That means you're safe. If you're needed, it's safe. It's really not safe, right? I've grown out of, right, a codependent, right, relationship with my husband. We separated for a couple of years because it was codependent, very much so. And we've been together so long, so of course it's going to be codependent, right? Been together since I was 15. So it's easy to become codependent on someone that you grew up with and that you're with all the time. Then separating and coming back together, like, you don't want to open up. You don't want to do these things because you can get hurt. Becoming close with friends. How many of you guys have been really, really hurt by a friend, right? I've lost friends just because we're on different paths. Like, and I think it changes as we get older too, right? I think that as we get older, we understand that we can work through things. Like, there's nothing, like, I'm going to catch you on a bad day, right? I'm going to catch you on a bad day. You're going to catch me on a bad day. That's what happens. We're humans, right? But I think as we get older and we understand what was happening in the prior relationships, that we tend to be a little bit less like, okay, you just need space, or, it's not my job to fix it. I'm going to be here for you and I'm going to do everything I can. I can't even fix myself, so I certainly can't fix someone else, but I will be here for you, right? And I think that it changes as we get older and we start to heal a little bit and we understand what a real friendship looks like. It took me a long time to be open enough to even begin to consider anybody a friend, right? Because I love fiercely, right? If you're in my circle, I love you. There's nothing that you can do. Like, I love you. And that's some vulnerability, right? It's like, do I want to love them again? You know what? You can, or you can not, and then not experience such amazing things, right? Well, girl, you got to keep just getting in there. You got to get in there. And I think that was the beautiful thing about our retreat is when we did the retreat, right? The goal for us is to have retreats and like empower and like show it is possible to have healthy friendships that are going through the same thing, that are there for you. And are they going to disappoint you sometimes? Probably. We're human, but there's ways to work through that. And that's, I think, the difference between like 20 years ago versus now, right? There's going to be people that aren't receptive to you, and that's okay. They are not your forever people. But I like forever people, right? I like forever people. I love that. And I want to, I just like my people, right? I just like my people. I love you. So, can you get disappointed if you get too close? Yeah. Do you know why you get disappointed? It's because we have expectations. And there are certain expectations I will say that you should be able to have. You should be able to have an expectation that if you're really struggling and you call your friend and you say, hey, do you have time just for a second? Then they'll be there. And if they can't, they can say, my life's falling apart right now. I love you so much, but like I don't have it in me. That's okay, right? That's when we start growing up and learning that there are definitely expectations that hurt us. But look at your friends as people who have their own shit, right? Tell them you love them. Be there for them. Like my best friends are you guys, right? And none of you guys live right here. It's all over the United States. And it's impactful to be able to be part of a group that wants to move forward and change the world and make a difference in people's lives. For us to be able to be together and hold hands and move forward and change people for the better is amazing, right? Expectations will get you. They will. And I mean, and you have the right to have them. And there's certain expectations. I'm not saying like, well, she says she's my best friend, but then like, I expect her to talk to me once a week. Well, yeah, like there's certain expectations I get, but like people are still people and they're going through their own stuff, right? Going through their own stuff. Don't play it safe. Don't play it safe. Yeah, I mean, I like to keep people forever. Like if you're in my group, don't go away. No, I'm just kidding. You go wherever you're called to go. I love the connections that I make. And even if people don't talk all the time, like the connections have been the most amazing thing. People say TikTok and all those things, social media is bad, but like honestly, I've had so many great experiences. I've had some crappy ones, but I've had some really beautiful experiences and meeting some amazing people. So jump in and make yourself vulnerable. Is there going to be some people that are like, oh, who are you? Yeah, mm-hmm. Sure is. Sure is. All right. It's time to rewrite your book. If you resonate with these coping mechanisms and the underlying feelings, welcome to being an empath. This book is for you, but more than anything, this book is a simple resource to help you create your own manual based on your truth, your own story, and your own extraordinary empowered life. It's one free of any coping mechanisms and instead overflowing with strategies to completely thrive from the inside out. In this book, it's a compilation of tools and practices that support in living a truly empowered, extraordinary life. But overlying everything is the ultimate aim to support and rewriting your own story. You see, no one else can rewrite the book quite like yourself. You have the keys, the map, the compass, and the power to unlock everything you truly desire and all you deserve in living your best life. You have everything you need already. It's finally time to start listening. Do you like it? Do you like it? Do you like it? I thought you might. All right, so we'll continue on that if you're good with that. We'll continue on next Wednesday. So I want to do this through the month of June. I'm sure that we'll be through it. I would love to have. So say June, we're doing all about empathy, and we are going to talk about how can we have better coping mechanisms, right? How can we let go of the weight of the world? So we have people within our group on Blend Your Spirit that have the ability and knowledge to help us do that. I do not. I don't. I do sometimes mediumship if something comes through. I do intuitive readings. I can do cards and things like that privately. I can also do Reiki, distance Reiki. What else can I do? Oh, I do a lot of shadow work and coaching as well. No problem. No problem. So my goal is we're going to talk about being an empath. And I think that the Work It Wednesday, right? It's Work It Wednesday, not a work it, but shadow work. I think that, Shelly, I forgot. I will do that though. I have it on my list. Going through these things and getting you guys tools for myself, for everybody to share, right? That's what it's about. You take what resonates and leave the rest. And so if any of you guys in here have ideas, if you want to jump on a Wednesday night and talk about, things that have helped you, if you want to jump on and talk about struggles, if you want to write me a letter because you don't want to be on here, but you should be on here because I make it really, really easy for you. I promise. You've been doing shadow work for 2 years. Oh yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's a big one. I'm going to give you guys some questions for shadow work too tonight. Shadow work is something I've spent a lot of time. You can ask what shadow work is. So, if you've been with me for a while, you're going to hear the same story. Okay. Shadow work is this. Okay. There's a little boy and a dad. Thank you for the gift, Brandy. How are you, Brandy? There's a little boy and a dad, and they're walking down a gravel road, and the little boy falls and he cuts his knee. And the dad jerks him up and says, "Don't cry. Men don't cry. You're a man. You don't cry." Okay. In that moment, the little boy learns that if I get hurt, I don't cry because then daddy will love me differently. Okay. Not always, but more often than not, this is how the shadow is grown by different circumstances like this. So your shadow is this, like the little boy would grow up and get bullied in school. He's not going to tell anybody because you can't cry about it because people will love you differently. And then he's going to grow up and maybe he's going to be in a relationship and his partner is going to yell at him and say, "Why don't you share your emotions? Why can't you tell me how you feel?" And he's going to be like, "I do." Really, he doesn't because he hasn't since he was a child, and so it's, your shadow is the parts of you that you do not divulge on the first date, second date, third date, fourth date, whatever. Like it's the parts of you that you've learned to hide and you keep safe, right? Your shadow comes out in ugly ways like a trigger. I'm doing good. Thank you. I hope you're doing good. Your shadow comes out in a trigger. So if you're talking to someone and they say something to you, and your head basically spins around like The Exorcist because it just, like my mom always said that, like, don't treat me that way. So it's these reactive things. And it's things and emotions that we push down and we push down and we push down, and we don't ever understand why we react the way that we do. So one of the big moments for me is I had an experience when I was younger. I was very much taught that, in this moment that you are much better off not being seen and not speaking. Okay. So I'm 47 now. So at about 42, I did a meditation with my mentor, and it was taking me back to a time to where I didn't feel like I was in power as a child. And it took me immediately back to this moment to where I was told all these different things. And in that moment, I was like, this whole time I thought I'm just shy. Like, I don't want to be seen. I'm shy. I'm all these things. No, I was taught it is safer for you to be quiet and for you not to be seen. It has nothing to do with being shy. I was like, I'm shy. That's just who I am. No, I'm not shy, right? It is a matter of, this is what kept me protected. right? It is really good stuff to work on, and you learn so much about yourself. An example would be like my husband. One of his things is his reaction to change, right? His reaction to change. Everything was very like this growing up. And so like for him, when there was change in the house or he did something wrong, then his mother would react a certain way, right? So to prevent from those things happening and her being uncomfortable, then you learn to keep those things to yourself, right? So, and there's so many different things. That's just like teeny tiny ones. There are things that are triggers in your shadow. People who have had SA abuse. There are people who have had in the military, right? Or abusive parents. Like there's just so many different things. I do. And I used to do them a lot more. I am going to start doing the private lessons or private coaching sessions again in June. But we will be doing these on Wednesdays. I always call them Work at Wednesday. So it'll be Dear Kitty and Work at Wednesday. And we'll work through a lot of different shadow work things as well. It is why it's saying, yeah, reach out to me. I can definitely get with you. It's actually how I met several of the people in here because I did that beforehand. But on Wednesdays we'll do it. I don't just do the shadow work. I talk about crystals. We do all kinds of stuff. But so the shadow it's a hard one, right? Because it's that part, it's your ugliest self. I'm not talking about like physical, it's your ugliest self. Right? It's the one, like I always tell people, please don't make me mad. Like, do not make me mad. Please just don't do it. Like I please, like I like it in the light. I don't like who I am in the dark, And so it is that, but it is so healing when you start recognizing things because then you can say, oh shit, Shadow Kitty came out to play today. That wasn't very nice, and then you kind of understand like, okay, that's my trigger. That's my responsibility. I really shouldn't have snapped at you, and I sure did. Oops. But it does help you. It helps you, and it can change your life. It can change your life for the better. Now, sometimes it can become too much for some people, especially if you've had significant trauma. But it is all about... it's all about what you can handle and really knowing yourself. Like you can go along your whole life pretending like you're this person that everybody sees, but you still have that deep-seated trauma and the things that you push down. And so it's working through those things so you can be authentic. Oh, I love that. I love that. I love how we all meet. All right. So, next week, I'm doing scoops. I'm just trying to tell you things that are coming up. Next week, I'm doing scoops. If you want to be in Blend Your Spirit, link is in bio or they can post it on here. Go join. I am doing a fall retreat. That is coming up. There are a few spaces available. It's going to be done in Fort Smith. This one is specifically for women and women healing. It is going to be kind of like a goddess empowerment training, so to speak. And we're going to do it on a full moon in November. There's a couple spaces left. What else do we have going on? The boxes for the month are smaller boxes this month. They're $25. We're doing blue lotus, mugwort, and lavender. I think lavender tea. And then we are doing, what are the crystals next month, Shelly? One of the ones is a really expensive one, and you're going to get a shard of it. So it's a great deal because usually they're like $20 a shard. It is, what's the one that's from Decay? These scoops, I think you have 15 for a small, and then you have 25 for the large. But you'll get the 4 crystals with the cards. You'll get the herbs for the tea and the cards. Yeah, okay. Garnet, bloodstone, Vivianite, and you get an agate slice, like a big round agate slice. And so those are the 4 crystals of the month. You're going to get in the box, it's $25. You get the 4 crystals, you get the 4 cards, and then you're going to get the tea, and then you get an intuitively chosen surprise. Yeah, Chica, but yeah, it's going to be for June. So I have all the things here. So after I get a couple other packages I have to get out tonight, I will start making those. So you just have to let me know. But they're $25. That includes shipping. Yeah, Stephanie, I have you down for it. I have you down for it in the total that I sent you. Oh, it's your birthday month. Small, large, add to what I owe. Okay, I will I'll pull that stuff here when we get off. All right, so yeah, that's some of the stuff. You can also go over to Kitty's Cavern. That is the place where I do the crystals and things like that, and they're always on there. I do different specials, and I'll do them through the weekend. I do them all the time. Let's just be real. You will not find better crystals for the price, and I'm not saying that just because it's me. I'm not. Anybody can vouch for it. Anybody can. All right, so I'm going to give you a couple of questions, and I will send these to Shelly to write for you guys to consider. If you're just starting shadow work, or if you want to do shadow work, the easiest way to start is asking yourself questions and not being too hard on yourself. Just get a journal, a spiral, and write these questions down. When you have time to sit and go over them, dive deep into them, okay? I'm going to give you 3 tonight. Number 1 is this. I'm going to send you a bunch of stuff, Shelly. How do you wish you were more like your childhood self? How do you wish you were more like your childhood self? Write that at the top of a page, and when you have time, think about your childhood self. Let's talk about childhood Kitty. Like, when I think of childhood me, I think of like 3-year-old me. I've seen pictures, I don't remember, but I used to have big space right here between my teeth, and I had bleach blonde hair. My hair was very light. It was curly. It was always in ponytails. And I had a red wagon, and I walked around my backyard getting roly-polies and filling that wagon with roly-polies. I had a crop top on, bell bottoms, right? My mom dressed me that way, and I just played in the dirt the whole time, right? When did I start caring about what people thought? Right? Roly-polies. So how do you wish you were more like your childlike self? Okay, that's number 1. What would paradise look like to you? That's number 2. What would paradise look like to you? What would that look like to you? Like, I'd like to say it's a cabin in the woods or it's on the ocean, but for me, it would just be paradise is around the people I love, right? That's why I say I want a bus. Like, I feel like there's different parts of my heart left all over the United States with everybody. Like, paradise to me is just being with people that I love. Like, we don't have to do anything. We could just sit and watch TV. You know, it's my want to travel is to go and be with those parts, you know. Hi, Von Zoom. How are you? What was the first question? Let me find it for you. Where'd you go? How do you wish you were more like your childlike self? Sitting on an empty beach. Oh, I would love to do that. That's definitely one of my goals for a retreat at some point, right? In Pensacola, I've been there before, and there's private beaches there, and just to have like a cookout with all the people, all the goddesses, wouldn't that be amazing? Okay, so what would paradise look like to you? Okay, and number 3, somebody tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. Tell me when to stop. I'm flipping pages. Tell me when to stop. Somebody tell me when to stop. All right. This is a huge one, so hold on. How has your past shaped you in positive and negative ways? I mean, that's just plenty. How has your past shaped you in positive and negative ways? Now, you don't have to go dig into the negative things like every single thing. Pick 1 or 2 and write about it. right? Write about it. This starts getting your writing flowing, right? So those are the 3 questions. I will have Shelly write those for me. I have to send her like our animals, our nature's teachers stuff. I need to get her the stuff on Class Today. I loved Class Today. Did you guys, I like this class, but on the plants, how do you relate? How do you relate to, or how are you the same as a seed, right? Did you guys like that? Yeah, you can do it in a journal. You can. And there's a lot of different journals you can buy and things like that. But I could give you hundreds of journal prompts. Like it's something that's kind of something that I'd stopped doing because I thought that people weren't really invested in it. But I'm finding that it's absolutely so much more that we need to do. Right. So we'll continue to do it. We used to call it Work It Wednesdays. So we'll continue doing Dear Kitty and Work It Wednesday kind of on the same thing. So if you're struggling with an issue or you've healed and you want to talk about things that worked for you, stuff like that, feel free to message me. You're welcome to come on. I can interview you, or you can just be a co-host. And if you have ideas, let me know, right? This is for you guys just as much as me. I learned just as much. So you crash a retreat. Yeah, let me write down the things I need to do. I have some. So, okay, so in Blend Your Spirit, I need crystal grids. Crystal grids, I need nature's teachers to Shelly. Also for you guys, the raffle that's going on, there are a couple, there's 3 prizes. The tickets are $5 each, but it's $200, I think $100 and $50 prizes. So they're $5 each. That, all those proceeds go to the retreat and helping someone go that would not have the finances otherwise to go. So even if you don't win, you still are doing something really amazing. It doesn't go like to me to pay bills or anything like that. It's definitely going towards the retreat. You guys are good. So if you're interested in that, you can go over, we'll post something within the group as well. I'll do some lives and stuff this weekend. You'll go when Joe goes. Guys, reach out to him, see if he'll go in November. I have it as a women's retreat, but Joe would be really great. But we have a lot of stuff coming. So, okay, Blend Your Spirit, crystal grids, nature's teachers. I need the plant stuff from today, from Class Today. I will see if I can download the class and get that over there for those that missed. It was a really good class. Download class. Okay. All right, they could share a room. No. Joe is, what's his name? Millennials Third Eye. Yeah. Joe is a man that I met randomly through someone else sent him my way, and we do lives sometimes together. He was in here earlier. He's great. He's very gentle, very light, but his energy speaks volumes. He's great. So yeah, it's good stuff. So, okay, is there anything else I owe anybody? I need to get Enigma. I need to get you your total. Yeah, so scoops are that. It's 15 for small, 25 for large. We're going to do Goddess Temple probably Friday. I'm going to verify with Shelly on that. That would be us doing the punch and talking about Demeter. Each month, if you're new in here, we go over goddesses as well. And so this month, we're going to talk about Demeter. And next month, we're going to have, hi, Maureen. How are you? Next month, we're going to have Nadine. She's going to be with us, teaching us on an oil for whatever goddess we have as well. Friday is good for you. So I will get with Shelly and we'll get that so you guys know where to see us, we'll do it over on TikTok. We like doing it on TikTok until they tell us we can't anymore. So we'll do that. And if you guys have questions, you know where to find me. Okay? All right, all right. I hope you're doing good, Maureen. Where you been? Where you been? We miss you. Calendar's not up yet. I'm still working on it. Wait, Saturday night, Rebel, right? You're welcome. Saturday night, correct, Rebel? We're doing, me and you? Yeah. Okay, so Friday night, we're going to do Goddess. Saturday night, me and Rebel are going to do a live. It's going to be paranormal. She's going to talk about her investigation. If you're available and you want to join, you absolutely can. So we're going to talk paranormal, so bring your paranormal questions. Case? And then I will get that calendar out for you in the next day or two. Okay? Hope you guys have an amazing night. If you need me, you know where to find me. I miss seeing you too. I hope you're having a good night. And we will be back on Friday. So you guys have an amazing night. Go get over there in the chats and all those new things I've added and enjoy. Bye.